I just wanted to make the next episode, I guess this will be episode 3, in the guitar series that people seem to be enjoying. And today we're going to talk about suspended chords. Now, this is probably jumping ahead of where I should go, simply because this is somewhat deep in music theory, but I'm going to try to actually show you enough of the basics so you understand more about suspended chords and what they actually are when we get further into them. I like suspended chords simply because they sound awesome, especially the suspended seconds. They just sound incredibly nice, which, again, I will play for your own guitar. But first and foremost, I'm going to start writing it out on paper to show you what it looks like on paper, and then I want to show you on piano because visually it's a lot easier to grasp on piano than it is on guitar. And then finally I will move it on to guitar and show you what it looks like there. So we will start with paper first. So let's go ahead and get started on the scales. We're going to cover a couple of quick ones today. No big deal. The scales I'm going to show you need to be in place before I can explain what suspended chords are. So just stay tuned and we'll see what we can do with this. Okay guys, I actually have to apologize if things begin to get a little shaky here because I'm actually having to hold my webcam. So I apologize if it gets a little shaky on this one, but here we go. We're going to go ahead and start on C. And I'm going to go ahead and number these. Again, this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the octave makes 8. Now I apologize for my nasty handwriting, but such is life on that one. There are only 7 notes in C. The 8th makes the octave, if you want to actually put it in there. To make a C major chord, you take the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th, or the C, the E, and the G. This will actually make the C major chord, and that's C, E, and G. Now, if we want to make the C minor chord, and I apologize if this is going a little fast, but it should all come together here shortly. You want to make the C minor chord. In any minor chord, all you have to do to convert it from its major form to its minor form is to flat the 3rd. And that means to drop it only a half step. I will show you what that means on both guitar and piano. Piano means only dropping it 1 key, whether it be 1 black key or 1 white key. And on guitar, it's just simply 1 fret. But in this case, I'll go ahead and write, we just flat the 3rd, and I'll go ahead and write that out for you as C, E, flat, and G. And that makes up the minor. So here we have the C major chord, and here we have the C minor chord. Now, what makes a suspended chord is we suspend what makes the chord major or minor. In this case, if we look at the 3 notes that are in the chord, we notice that only 1 note actually changes. Both the C and the G stay the same between the 2 forms. Only the E changes. Only the 3rd changes. That means that only the 3rd is responsible for actually defining whether this is a major or a minor chord. So to make a suspended chord, we suspend the note that defines whether it's a major or minor chord. That means in this case we just get rid of this one completely, and we either add the 2nd or the 4th. Now, there are 2 different kinds of suspended chords, or 2 different forms, the 2nd and the 4th. And those are the only 2 that are actually out there. I'll show you how to make those really quickly. Again, the 3rd has been completely taken out of the chord. We keep the 1st and the 5th, and we add either the 2nd or the 4th. Now, to make a suspended 2nd, what we would actually do is add the D in place of the E. Suspend the E, add the D. This is your suspended 2nd chord. To make a suspended 4th, all we would do is suspend the 3rd and add the 4th. In this case, that would be F. and that's your suspended fourth. Now, just as a quick heads up, before I go on to the next scale that I want to go on to, I want to point out that suspended chords come in two forms, and therefore you must be explicitly told which one that either the performer or the writer wants you to play. Seeing something like C, S, U, S on a piece of music, that right there is incorrect, simply because either the person who wrote the music or the performer that has transposed it or whatever has not given you enough information to tell you which suspended chord they want you to play. So every single time you actually see a suspended chord, it must have a suspended second or suspended fourth affixed on the end of it. So C, S, U, S 2 and C, S, U, S 4. That's the way this should look. These are correct forms of the given chord. Okay. Now, the reason I did this is simply because C is the most basic, most important, and most simple of scales, but the A suspended second is actually the easiest to play on a guitar. So I'm going to go to that one next. Okay, this is the A scale, and again I'm just going to write the numbers underneath them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is your octave. Again, just A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. A has three sharps on it, as you can see. C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. So, how do we make the A major chord? Well, we simply take the first, the third, and the fifth, and we put A, C sharp, and E. And that's A major. Now, to make the minor form, all we simply do is A flat the third to C, and then go to E. So that's the minor form. Now, again, as I mentioned before, both the A and the E, in other words, the first and the fifth, stay the same. Only the third changes. So to make the suspended forms of this chord, we need to actually suspend the actual note that makes it a major or a minor, which in this case is the third, and add the second for a suspended second, and that's the suspended second form, or add the fourth. That's the suspended fourth form. Okay guys, I'm sure the lesson in music theory was a little dry, so I'm going to try to move on to the piano and the guitar rather quickly and see if I can move through those pretty quickly here. The C chord is, again, C, E, and G, and that is C, E, and G for a total of, and that's a C major chord. To make a minor form of the chord, we just drop it a half step. Flat the third. Actually, it's a half step, and that is key down. So, and since this is E flat. So we have C, E flat, and G for a total of the C minor chord. Now, to make it a suspended second or suspended fourth, we go ahead and suspend the note that makes it a major or a minor, which in this case is an E or an E flat, and we add the second or the fourth. In this case, we'll suspend the E and we'll add the D. That's a suspended second. Or we can add the fourth, which is C, F, and G for a total of, that's your C suspended fourth. Now let's move down to A. Okay. The A major chord, as we discussed earlier, is A, C sharp, and E. That's your A major. Drop it a half step, which is the next key down. In this case, it's a white key. And you have A, C, and E, or the minor version of the chord. Now, we're going to suspend the note that makes it major or minor. In this case, it's going to be a C sharp or a C. And we're going to add the second, which is A, B, and E, for a total of, there's your suspended second. And to make the suspended fourth, you A, D, and E, for a total of, and that's your suspended fourth. Now I'll show you how to do that on guitar. Okay, now we don't have to worry about the webcam shaking anymore, and I apologize in advance if that bothered anyone. Let's go ahead and take a look at these chords on guitar. From my guitar series part 1, you saw how I played an A chord, and again that's your regular A. Now what notes are we playing here, because in this particular case it's rather important, since what I showed you earlier. A, E, A, C sharp, and E, A. Now if we want to make the minor form, we just drop the third half step down to a C from the C sharp, and we have A, E, A, C, E. There's your minor. Now we want to make the suspended versions, we suspend the third, and in this case the third is on the B string on the C and C sharp. We suspend that note, the C or C sharp, and add the second, which in this case is the B, which is nice on a guitar because that means just playing the string open. So here's how you play an A suspended second. If you play an A like this, all you need to do is pick up your ring finger. If you play an A like I do, all you need to do again is pick up your ring finger, and there's your A suspended second. Now, this is A, E, A, B, and E. That's your suspended second. Now, to play the suspended fourth form, it's actually pretty easy. All we need to do is add the fourth. And that's pretty easy on guitar, luckily. If you play an A chord like this, all you need to do is slide your ring finger up one fret to the third fret. Or if you play it like I do, put your pinky on the third fret where your ring finger would usually sit. And now you have A, E, A, D, E, or your A suspended fourth. Okay, now let's move on to C really quickly. This is the reason why I think the C chords are a little more difficult to play, simply because they require a bar chord. Now, there probably are some other ways to play the C, suspended second, suspended fourth, but this is where I feel the most comfortable, so I'm going to show you here. If you remember in my guitar series part 1, I showed you how to play a B flat. Just like that. The good thing about it, though, is that there's no open strings. So I can move this up to any fret I want to and make a chord out of it. Now this is B flat, that's B, and this is C. So that's C major, and let's prove it note-wise. We're playing C, G, C, and E. C major. To make the minor version of this chord, all you need to do is actually drop the third a half step, and again a half step on the guitar is just one fret. So in this particular case, now we have C, G, C, E flat, and G, or your C minor chord. To make the C suspended second, just as we did with the A, and if you'll notice, if we actually were to pretend that this was the nut, all we're actually doing is moving the A up 3 frets. And the pattern is exactly the same. To make the C suspended second, we actually suspend the E, or the E flat in this particular case, and we add the D instead. And that chord looks something like this. And let's show you the notes on it. That is a C, G, C, D, G. That's your suspended second. Your suspended fourth would look a lot like your C major in this case, except for put your pinky on the B string one fret up from where it usually sits on the B string, and that will give you your suspended fourth. And let's prove that note-wise. Again, C, G, C, F. So now we have your suspended fourth. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Any suggestions, anything you might want to see in the future, please feel free to let me know, and I'll try to include them. I love the suspended chords. I think they sound incredible, and that's the reason why I went ahead and jumped probably a little bit ahead and actually did the suspended chords as one of the first things. But I hope you actually understood it. If you have any questions about anything that I explained in this video, feel free to ask. And I will talk to you all later, and hope you have a good day.